Hello, Internet, and welcome to another Wednesday's Serial. This time, I've been advocating for people to just kind of talk about comics that they enjoy at least on some level, right? And I'm not gonna I enjoy it on some level, but not loving it. I want to talk about something so old I don't have to worry about spoilers at all, which is beautiful, not that I ever really do. Um, I want to talk about me some Spawn. Okay, I recorded like half an hour and I need to do something better for you people. So I want to start off by saying I've been reading Spawn, but I have not been reading it very closely. It's something I've been enjoying in a weird light because I've read up and watched a bit of a documentary Sleepy Reader linked to me about Todd McFarlane as a person. And when you understand some of the personal side of what's going on, it makes this comic weirdly darker and fascinating on a weird level, which it needs. Because it's something I found myself saying like 30 times, and I just want to say it once coherently for you, is I'm on trade 8, issue 52 of Spawn. And for about 52 issues, they've packed in for what a standard, written for the trade kind of book would be in 3 trades. Decompressed doesn't even begin to describe it. This is wandering. This is wanderlust. This is bad writing. The amount of scenes that they try to fill with great art. And what's really crazy is the art is Todd McFarlane designs for the most part, because he did a lot of the early stuff. And there aren't a lot of new characters introduced after, say, the first 12 issues. Even though there's a lot of guest stuff in there. So a lot of it's drawn by Capullo, and it's beautifully rendered. It's beautifully done. And the colors are done by, normally, the greatest colors of all time, Steve Oliff. And the art's just incredible. Going to dead scenes, like it was in, I believe, the trade earlier, where there's an entire beautiful page, 6 panels of Twitch, one of the detectives, brushing his teeth. And that's it. They're doing it. They're making this beautiful comic page from like a just storytelling standpoint, because essentially there's no story. And they're filling it in. They're trying to add it with this beautiful comic booking, essentially. But there's no there because there's no script. It's just Todd McFarlane moving along this story at a snail's pace because he wants to maintain a mystery. But there's no mystery when you leave a thread over 2 pages and then 10, 12 issues later you maybe bring it up again, and that's it. Or you just bring it up constantly for a page here and there and then don't honestly move it again, but remind people that it's a thread going in the story. For instance, Billy Kincaid is a serial killer that Spawn kills in like the 8th issue. And the detectives, Sam and Twitch, keep bringing him up all the way up through this trade, all the way to issue 50. Billy Kincaid stopped being Billy Kincaid issue 9 when he became the Vindicator and became literal Hellspawn. And so they've been following a thread of a character who died, at least to them on that level, for mere mortals years ago from a reader's standpoint. That's insane. That's maddening. So the biggest thing is I just don't understand how this book continued and how it was ever as super popular, considering it's just this continual melodrama with very little actual superheroics or any actual story going on. And I'm all for character development first and all that, but the characters barely even develop. They just face troubles and move on for the most part. Yeah, so I don't know, it's a super bizarre book. It's something I've been reading closely, but it's kind of fascinating to go through just to see why this was such a thing. But at the end of the day, I'm not loving it. I can't imagine ever rereading it, but I'm continuing through. I have Spawn Origins now through 20. I'm going to try to push on But the thing is, the trades stop at 20. And because the sales weren't good for the recollections, they stopped printing them. But now those issues are gone. Basically, up to more recent stuff, it's impossible to find. I mean, I'm sure if you're willing to do the whole hunt and go through everything, you could. But you're going to be paying a chunk per issue, and some of them are probably harder to find than others, I'm sure, and you'd be paying who knows how much per, and I don't really have the interest to do that. I had contacted Image a while ago and said, hey, I understand you think that these weren't selling well. I don't know when you made that decision, but I can guess based on the years of printing of the trades around then. Since that time, the ability to access these issues for people who want to follow Spawn the way through aren't there. If you could do a small printing of trades that were maybe more expensive but available, I think people would respond to it because it would be an affordable way to do it. And I think people want to read this. And the response I got back is, if you want to follow Spawn through, go check it out on Comixology. That's their response. Just get the digital issues. So there's no real care at Image to bother with Spawn, even though they're pushing the series forward. They've printed a couple of trades of some more recent stuff. But I think it was specifically like the Cullen Bunn like arc, and a couple others. That's about it. Yeah, they just don't seem to care about Spawn. They've moved on. They're not willing to print trades, even though that there's clearly a market for these things. Anytime there's a stretch of issues where if they're available, they're 20 and the rest aren't available seemingly online, I'm always shocked there isn't a trade, especially when the comic's still being published. And yeah, that's where it's at with Spawn. It's something that's actually at this point more popular than the publish will recognize, probably because they were bitten so hard by its popularity and pushed with it so hard before. So I don't know, and maybe there's some internal struggle because Todd McFarlane's one of the heads of Image, and maybe someone has enough power to say, well, this went too far before and we're not doing it again. Who knows? It's a crazy bit about American comics, Spawn is, and it was international too. I remember seeing in Japan one of the comics that you could find readily of reprintings and stuff, and because they had like 3-issue chunks because of the way they did early Image over there, I guess. It was Spawn, and it was all over, and it was readily available. So to that, I mean, I think the optics are, if you're not in it, like Spawn's just as notable as Wonder Woman or something. So yeah, I don't know. Spawn, crazy. If you guys know more about Spawn, please talk to me about it. I'm curious. It's something that I don't know a lot about, but I'm reading on.